Hello everyone, how are you doing today? I just want to share this thought with you, and I hope what I say encourage you today. 2 nights ago, I'm in the house and the Spirit just says, watch the 10 Commandments. Of course, you know it's long, so it took me 2 days. And I understand why the Spirit wanted me to watch the 10 Commandments. What I gather from the 10 Commandments, which can apply to all of us, is that we're always in some kind of bondage. It could be financial, physical, emotional, mental, psychological. Always in some kind. See, but God has an expiration date on that bondage. God always have a way out. God is always grooming somebody to take charge when given an assignment. Let's go back. God preserved Moses by having him in a basket set up on the water, and Pharaoh's daughter took Moses. Now, Pharaoh's daughter took Moses, and it just so happened she didn't have any kids because her husband had died. But it was kept a secret. See, and God also made sure that his mother gave him breast. You know, God is such a good God that he'll have something or someone taken away from you, and you still be there to watch the ending, or watch that thing, or what that one or that someone, what they become. Now, we know it's only a movie, and they add a couple things, but they kept the main theme. Then the next thing is, it came to a point where he could learn no more from in Pharaoh's house. Kind of like when you go to church and you reach a point in church that particular place cannot teach you anything else. Kind of like school. You finish that one grade, it can't teach you anything else, so you move on. His moving on wasn't a good one. He now had to come to the realization that, listen, I am a Hebrew. I am not an Egyptian. And then he said, I'm going to be with my people. Let's look at this, people. Some of us, we go to levels and realize that that's not where we belong. And then something or someone would make you come to the real truth that, listen, I don't really want to be here. If it's a choice, because I want to be who I really am. It's like being a person with purpose attached to you, and you change your name can derail your purpose. That's why God told me once, and I posted it, that tell my people stop changing their names, because when I come for them, I'm going to come for the birth name that they had, not the conversion that they converted it to. Let's go on a little further. God said it so that Moses was kicked out of Egypt. Why? God needed Moses to get away from where he was, to get from amongst his people. See, God always draws one out teach him and build him up to come and get the rest of the people out. It's like having a friend that turned a Christian and he's separated from you guys. He doesn't do the things, or she doesn't do the things you used to, but then she come back or he come back, you see them in a different light and they're carrying a different beacon than the one they left with. And you're drawn to it. And that's when they can introduce you to God, who would lead you into liberty. You know, God gives you new things. He gives you everything you need also. Moses then end up meeting his wife, a shepherd girl. Now let's think about it. Pharaoh, son, Prince of Egypt. You know, it's a circle. Look at it this way. Born Hebrew. Grew up and schooled in Pharaoh's house. Then converted, then had decided he wanted to be who he was born to be. And he wanted to be with his people. So now he's a Hebrew again. Then he becomes a shepherd and then a husband. Then he becomes a messenger, because he went up into the mountain where God can really speak to him. See, if you look at it, it's just like Abraham. When God said, get from amongst his people, and he did. But we knew Moses would have never left Egypt on his own. So they had to put him in exile somehow. They did not kill him. God would not let anyone kill your purpose. Here's the thing. After he got his divine assignment from God, he now then walked in that assignment, that God-given destiny. Because here's the thing. See, people can see things in you that you could never see in yourself until you come to the realization of who God is, and God solidify what they see in you. If you watch the movie, Joshua was always saying, you are the one who's going to come lead us out of captivity. You're the Savior. People will see things in you that you can't see in yourself. And if it's things of God, pray to God. Ask him how to pull that out of you. Ask him to put somebody in your life to nurture that. And so he goes back. And he told Pharaoh, God said, let my people go. And the thing I like, to back it up a little bit, is when Moses said, who should I tell them send me? He said, I am that I am. And it's so funny, if we know the great I am, well, you will know who I am, as in reference to yourself. I am. Because it's his spirit that's inside you. Moses goes back. Pharaoh wouldn't let his people go right away, because here it is. The people that you go back to pull out, they're still in that mess. And that mess won't let them go that easy. The mess that they're in would not let them go that easy, will not let them be free of it. So, he hardened Pharaoh's heart. It's kind of like your past holding on to you and said, no, you can't go, you can't go. Until you push hard enough and that past has to let go. Now, when they left Egypt, they took spoils, gold, a whole bunch of things. But see, you got to understand too. In the movie, there was one person, an ex-governor that tried to tell them or to convince them, and even cause riots just to get them to go back to Egypt. Everything that happened, he says, things would have been better in Egypt. When they got to the Red Sea, things would have been better in Egypt. That is that person that always tries to pull you back, or that thing that always pulls you back into your former state. But there's always some people that are disobedient to the will of God and will try to lead God's people astray. That's that serpent spirit, you know, the one that slithers in. And so, to make a long story short, God always has a way out, and he can stop the enemy and let the enemy see you and can't do anything to you. Then when the enemy tries to attack you, God will wipe them out. Just like Pharaoh's men got wiped out in the sea, and Pharaoh stood up on a rock and watched them. Sometimes your greatest enemy isn't man or woman enough to do the job. So they will send people to do it. It's like somebody that sits at the house and work witchcraft because it can't physically get to you. But listen, people. I learned that God is a provider. And just like they walked in the desert for 40 years is indicative of a purging that you go through to get things out of your system, because that generation died off. And there was two persons that went in from that generation. But understand this, people. God is your rock. Lean on that rock. In these times, they got all kinds of things out. You know, these new epidemics and the coronavirus and all of that. There's always going to be some plague. We're in the last days. There's always going to be some plague or something that comes to threaten everything. But your God cannot be intimidated, nor can he be threatened. So people, hold on to the hands of God. And no matter what, don't let go. I hope this encourages somebody. And everyone be blessed.